Rise and grind, folks. Guys, I am on the way to an existing maintenance customer. I know this customer has an older 80% furnace. I think their daughter called last night and said that the heat stopped working. It turned on, but it was blowing cold air out the vents. Guys, let's go take a look. I think we came out there for the maintenance last fall. I don't think anything got replaced, but I am almost here right now, guys. Let's go take a look. I'll see y'all when I get inside. Alright guys, I just spoke with the customer and they said that they had the thermostat set to 72, and prior to 2 days ago everything was working fine, but 2 nights ago the temps dropped down to 65. It is a programmable thermostat, but they said that they had it on the hold constantly at 72, so the temps should have never moved. And right now the room temp is up to 72. So it sounds like we got a good old-fashioned intermittent problem going on here. And as you can see, a bunch of work got done here within the past 10 years. This is a close to 30-year-old furnace. Was it's an 80,000 BTU Trane furnace. Guys, I'm gonna let this thing run for a few minutes. I could have sworn I heard the burners turn off and turn back on. Right now I got flame. I'm making out the flame. Guys, tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna let this run for a few minutes. I'll be right back. I want to take a look at something. Alright guys, I looked at our records. This igniter got replaced about 5 years ago, and we did a motor here close to 10 years ago, and this pressure switch got put in about 3 years ago. Now, you still can't rule out something in the pressure switch, but what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna check off all my intermittent possible scenarios. Like I said, we came out here this past fall for the heat maintenance and everything is okay. Nothing got replaced within the past 2 years. Flame sensor doesn't look terrible, but I'm gonna clean this flame sensor off a little bit, and I'm gonna let this unit cool down a little bit. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab my manometer and I'm gonna test for inches of water column on my inducer. And even though it's been about 3 years, I'm gonna check the warranty on this switch. I know there was at least a 2-year warranty on the pressure switch, but like I said, guys, being that this furnace is 30 years old, I think I explained this to the customer a few years ago here. Being that this furnace was at the top of the mountain, on the way down it's gonna be a bunch of problems, but I mean 30 years is 30 years. The fact that this furnace is able to get to that point, that's great, but usually inconvenience is what causes customers to just call it quits and just replace equipment. Not necessarily the age of the system. Is all about reliability. You want equipment to work when you need it. Who cares about how this furnace works in the summer? You don't need this furnace in the summer because it's already hot outside, but during the coldest days of the year, like this week and next week, when it's 10 degrees at night, you need this furnace to be able to stay on long enough to heat the house. So guys, tell you what, let me get my manometer and I'm going to test for inches of water column. In the meantime, this furnace got to cool down a little bit. I'll be right back, guys. Alright guys, my inducer is well above 1.0 inches of water column. Most importantly, the port is clear. I think what was going on, probably the diaphragm and the switch was sticking. I'm just gonna slap in a new switch and I'm gonna clean this flame sensor. Everything else looks good. There's no other external safeties, guys. That's another thing. Always make sure you don't have any external safeties like a condensate pump with safety wires or maybe some type of setting in the thermostat. Always take your time, guys. I didn't show you the thermostat because that was a 2-second thing, once I knew, for one, that it was a programmable thermostat, and two, I asked them about the hold button. If they didn't know about the hold button, I would immediately start there, make sure the customer knows about, if you don't hit the hold button, then automatically the temperature, the set point is going to switch without the customer knowing. But the customer said that they keep it at 72 constantly, so that automatically eliminated that thermostat. Everything's hooked up right, of course, since I know we came out here a few months ago, but I wasn't getting any reminders or any warning labels or symbols on that thermostat. And two, there's no external safeties. This is a straight AC cooling condenser and 80% furnace. Now, eliminating that, based on what I'm seeing here, the fact that it turned on, that pretty much confirmed that this is an intermittent issue. But based on the little bit of oxidation on the sensor, we definitely want to clean this. And for sure, since we know that our inducer is strong enough to pull a negative draft, I'm going to start with a new switch. Alright guys, let's get to it. I'll be back. Alright guys, sensor is clean, and this is the weird analogy of these flame sensors here. Not every flame sensor is going to fail at the same rate. You got some brands, just a speck of oxidation could cause this flame sensor to turn off the burners, and you have some furnaces I've seen recently, flame sensors can look completely black and white, not even silver, and they can run for 30 years. But guys, the common denominator is, if you're out there, regardless for service or no e-call, if you want to avoid recalls, always inspect flame sensors. And if they don't look like what you see in my hand here, silver and shiny, if you try to clean it and it's still covered in oxidation, just replace it. But always inspect it and you'll know what to do, guys. But last thing you want to do is just avoid this, and this customer is going to call you back within a few hours or the next day to say that the furnace is blowing cold air again. So make sure you guys are doing your due diligence, take your time, and you should be good to go. But guys, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this sensor back in and I'm going to replace the switch. I'll be right back. Alright guys, got my new pressure switch in. I'm getting ready to test everything in 1 second, but as I mentioned in previous videos, whenever you guys are troubleshooting inducer motors and pressure switches, one important element you cannot overlook is the pressure switch hose. What I got in my hand here, what you guys see, this hose was a little, it wasn't pinched, but it was a little tight, so I just replaced the hose. Now guys, as I mentioned before in previous videos, when inspecting pressure switch hoses, you do want to run the length as short as possible. You don't want to have any sags, or you don't want to run an abnormally long amount of pressure switch hose between the port and the switch, because the longer you run the hose, there's a chance it could sag, and this could cause intermittent pressure switch faults. And since I'm out here today for an intermittent pressure switch fault, I'd rather start with a clean slate with a brand new hose. And guys, also, you can get a full length of this pressure switch hose for like less than $10, so replacing the hose is not going to hurt you. It takes 2 seconds to do, but the fact that I know something was going on in this circuit already, I'd much rather start with a clean slate with a new hose versus taking my chance with this side of the hose falling apart, and now you got more issues to deal with. But guys, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hook up the wires to the switch, and I'm going to test this a few times. Let me hook this back up, guys. I'll be right back. Alright guys, we're good to go. Right now the unit turned off on limit. I'm waiting for the burners to turn back on. We got a clean filter in the unit. Everything's rocking and rolling. Now, this customer does understand that this furnace is on the way out, but right now it should be fine. But I just spoke with the husband. He said that they're going to make plans within the next 2 years to replace this furnace. So we're on the same page in regards to expectations here, but I'm waiting for the, here we go, inducers turn back on. I'm just waiting for this thing to fire up again, and I got to do the paperwork, and I got to get to the next stop. But guys, one thing I'm going to bring up, I mentioned this 1,000,001 times, intermittent issues and compound issues, you got to treat them like one and the same. Compound issues, if you replace one part and there's another failure behind it, or in this case, if the furnace works when you get here and then the customer says at 12 o'clock midnight it turns off for some random reason, Guys, always attack intermittent and compound issues the same way, one step at a time. Unfortunately, you cannot just throw the kitchen sink at every single thing you find. You're going to waste a lot of time, a lot of money, and that's not going to help the convenience of the customer, because most likely they're going to have to take time out of their day to schedule the appointment to have you keep coming back out for the exact same issue. But how I like to attack intermittent issues is you go for the most immediate items first. In this case, guys, the flame sensor was definitely a bit oxidized, give or take, with the age of this unit. Any small amount of oxidation could eventually cause this flame sensor to turn off the burner. So I wouldn't doubt that the flame sensor was part of this issue, but just to be on the safe side, like I say, cold weather and diaphragms long term, crazy things could happen. So, and the fact that this thing was only 3 years old, we just put in another switch just to be on the safe side. But guys, like I said, intermittent issues, you really got to have experience in dealing with them, but try not to overcomplicate any of this. I mean, this is ABCs, but if you're not familiar with diagnosing things, sometimes you can't always see. This could throw you for a loophole, but just take your time out there, guys, and if you eliminate each step one by one, eventually you're going to get to exactly what's going on. So take your time out there, guys, and you should be good to go. But guys, I got to rock and roll. I got to get to the next stop. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.